What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Moving on to another question. We have to factor each of these three expressions. So starting with number one, we've got 20x squared plus 40xy minus 25y squared. First thing you check with factoring is, can you take anything out of all of the expressions? And notice here, we could take out a 5 from everything. So 20x squared divided by 5, that leaves us with 4x squared. 40xy divided by 5, that leaves us with 8xy. And then 25y squared divided by 5, that leaves us with 5y squared. And now we check, can we factor this remaining bracket here? So we would do this with decomposition. So let's actually do it down here. So we got 4x squared plus 8xy minus 5y squared. So the a value is 4, c value is -5. You multiply those. That gives us -20. So we've got to find two numbers that multiply to -20 and add up to 8. What two numbers would do that? Well, 10 and -2 works. Because 10 times -2 is -20. And then 10 plus -2 is like 10 minus 2, which is positive 8. So we would decompose this middle term into 10xy minus 2xy, and then the first term and the last term, those stay the same. And then we factor by grouping. So what can we take out of these two? We could take out a 2x, we'd be left with 2x plus 5y. And then from here we could take out a -y, and we'd be left with 2x plus 5y. So now this bracket remains. We could take that out, and we'd be left with 2x minus y. And then these two we can't factor further. So going back to here, this bracket here factors into 2x plus 5y, and then 2x minus y. And if you want to check your answer, you could expand everything, FOIL this out, then factor the 5 in. You should end up with that same expression. Okay, what about number 2? We got x to the power of 5 plus x to the power of 4y minus 6x cubed y squared. So first thing you check, can you take anything out? And notice that in all of the expressions here, there is an x variable. So we take out the one with the lowest exponent. So notice an exponent of 5, 4, and 3. Lowest one is x to the power of 3. So if we take out x to the power of 3 from x to the power of 5, what are we left with? We're left with x squared. What about here? If we take out x to the power of 3 from here, well, we're left with 1x above, and then the y is still there as well. Then if we take out this x to the 3, there's no x variables left here, so we're just left with minus 6y squared, like that. And then same thing as here, we have this remaining bracket, so let's factor with decomposition. So the a value is 1, the b value is 1, and the c value is -6. So 1 times -6 is -6, so we have to find two numbers that multiply to -6 and add up to +1. And the two numbers would be 3 and -2. Right? Because 3 times -2 gives us -6, and 3 minus 2 gives us 1, that b value. So we decompose that middle term into these two. The first term, last term stay the same. From these two, we could take out an x. And then from these two, we could take out a -2y. So we'd be left with x plus 3y, right? -6y squared divided by -2y, which is what we took out. We're left with +3y. And then notice that this bracket is the same. We could take out that bracket, and we'd be left with x minus 2y. So this up here factors into x plus 3y, and then x minus 2y. And then finally, number 3, we got a squared m plus b squared n minus b squared m minus a squared n. So this one's a little bit tricky. We're going to have to do by grouping. And notice we have to rearrange it first because from these two, we can't really factor anything out. But notice that if I bring this negative b squared m over, so if I rewrite this as a squared m minus b squared m, then I could take out an m from both of these, and then I'd be left with a squared minus b squared. And then here, so I brought this third term, made it the second term, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this negative a squared n as the third term, and then this here as the fourth term. Right? So just rearrange it a bit in order for those a's and b's to be in line. So now notice we could do it by grouping. We could take out an m from both of these. We'd be left with a squared minus b squared. Then notice we could take out a negative n from these two. We'd be left with a squared minus b squared. Right? And then notice that this bracket is the same. So we got a squared minus b squared. And then we're left with m minus n. Now, are we done at this point? No, not yet, because notice that this a squared minus b squared is a difference of squares. That factors into a minus b, a plus b. And then we're still left with that bracket m minus n, which we can't do anything about. So that there is your final answer. So even after doing factoring by grouping, you always want to check, can you factor further? Because a lot of times you will be able to factor further. And in this case, this factored into 3 brackets, a minus b, a plus b, m minus n.